He's a little creepy, but it's kind of cute. I just got blue balled, that's all. I know I've said that like 4 times in this video, I'm sorry. But like, that's how I feel. It feels like this could have been good. It just wasn't. Hey, thank you for clicking on the video. My name is Kaylee, and this is Read, Rant, Review, where, you guessed it, I read books, and I do rant reviews. Today, we're going to be talking about A Cruel Winter with You by Ali Hazelwood. This is a part of the Under the Mistletoe collection that was released in November of 2024. I do plan on talking about the other ones in the series as well. I'll be posting the one by Tessa Bailey next week, so you have that to look forward to. This one, by Ali Hazelwood, is at a 3.7 on Goodreads with 90,000 ratings. This book, if I had to summarize it to you, if you were unfamiliar with the premise, is a friends to lovers, miscommunication, best friends, younger brother tropes, like all of that rolled into one, and then executed in 72 pages. I hate miscommunication tropes. I found that out about myself recently with the other Christmas book that I just rant reviewed last week. It's worse than insta love. It's worse than I can't even speak the full words. I can't even speak full words. I can't make sentences. I can't talk. It gets me so flustered and upset. So that's the book that we're going to be talking about today. Super short, super quick one. Before we get started, though, I do have 3 disclaimers. It's the same 3 disclaimers that I do for all of these sorts of videos. The first one being, this review is not for Ali Hazelwood, fans, friends, family stans, anything like that. We're just here having a good time talking shit. So don't watch this if you're actually a fan of it, or of Ali, which also, by the way, this is my first Ali Hazelwood book, and part of me likes some of her writing, some aspects of it that we'll get discussing later. Are any of her books better, or is this just like her style? Is this just who Ali Hazelwood is? Please let me know. I'm open to reading something else by her, but like I need a recommendation, because otherwise I'm not super impressed unless I literally just read it to do a rant review on. So comment that down below, actually. If you want to see me review an Ali Hazelwood book, let me know and let me know which one it should be. Disclaimer number 2 is that this will contain all the spoilers. This will be a beat by beat, chapter by chapter breakdown of this book. Number 3 is usually a trigger or content warning. There's nothing. Very, very light read today. Praise be. I feel like we need a good palate cleanser every now and then in this house. You know what I'm saying? And then one final tidbit of housekeeping for the channel. If you're watching this, that means that this video is also uploaded on Spotify. Subscribe over there or go watch my videos over there if that's easier for you. I know some people can't really access YouTube at work, so you got Spotify as an alternative now. Into this book. Without further ado, Chapter 1. We open up with our main female character, Jamie. She's a 27-year-old physician in residency working in San Francisco. But Jamie's back home in Chicago visiting her father. And hey, shout out, I feel like none of these books ever talk about Illinois. I live in Illinois. I'm in the southern part, though. I'm not anywhere near Chicago. But still, Illinois, represent. There's a blizzard happening, and her dad asks her to go over and get him a copper pan from her best friend's house. Her best friend, Tabitha, they're like childhood raised together best friends because their dads were BFFs in college. And so he's like, hey, I need a copper pan to make ham for the Christmas thing. Can you go over there and go and get it? And so she decides to walk 2 miles in a blizzard, uphill both ways. She walks over there. And her friend is on a cruise with her parents, though. Like, they're on a cruise in the Caribbean hanging out. So who's watching the house? It's Mark, Tabitha's little brother, and Mark, who there's a little bit of something between them that we get revealed pretty quickly. She expects him to be a douche for some reason, but instead he is surprised. That surprise quickly morphs into worry. It's like he doesn't wish me ill. Like he doesn't even hold a grudge over the terrible things that I said to him a few months ago or over my fumbled, insufficient apology. Then again, holding a grudge would require him to spend time thinking of me, which might be something that no longer occurs. He's like, what the are you doing out in a snowstorm? Like, why are you even here? She explains the whole pan situation. He says, who the hell owns a copper pan? Your mom? Because they're great. She wanted it, so Tabitha and I went in together to buy her one last Christmas. On second thought, maybe I shouldn't have told him that Tabitha and I could barely afford the one that we bought, but Mark is probably just making a mental note to tell his butler to have a baker's dozen made, 7 for his parents and 6 for my dad, all gold foiled and emerald encrusted with their initials embossed on it. It's so weird. Mark the jock who charmed his way in and out of trouble. Mark of the coasting grades. Mark the college dropout. Got filthy rich at 23 and paid off his parents' mortgage after his company's first liquidity event. He now has a net worth of millions, billions, bajillions. I don't even know. As decent as I am at math, numbers that large always get slithery in my head. She's a fucking physician. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. He pulls her inside and he's like taking off all of her clothes, and not in like a hot fun way, but in a, you're a literal toddler child and I'm going to take your jacket off of you and force you to stay at this house because you're too stupid to take care of yourself. And is just like babying her to a level that is like really rubbed me the wrong way, homie. To be a 27-year-old established career woman and then to be so instantly, I'm just a helpless little lady and I can't even speak full sentences to this man because I'm so flustered. Shut the fuck up. A minute later, I'm in the Compton's, that's her last name, Compton's kitchen, having absolutely no clue how I got there. Mark, whose tolerance for bullshit never managed to grow taller than your average bolette mushroom. Wait, what is a bolette mushroom? You're going on a Google search with me, friends. It's okay. A penny bun? It's a type of mushroom with fungal fruiting body? How do you say it? What do you think the importance of this is to Ali Hazelwood? Bolete? A bolete. A bolete mushroom. Hey, so what importance do we think? What importance do we think that a bolete mushroom has in Ali Hazelwood's life to be shouted out so specifically? I would love to know. Comment your theories down below. She's like, oh, he must have pulled me inside. He's currently standing in front of me, unzipping my parka like he would for a toddler who has yet to master the concept of zippers. My residency has been kicking my butt, and I barely have time to eat, let alone go to a salon. My hair is the longest that it's ever been for the first time in my life, a little past my shoulders. Mark must notice because he picks up the ends of my hair and rubs it between his fingers, staring at it in an intense, lingering way that makes me remember something he told me when we were both very young, which was, you have the prettiest hair in the world. It's dumb that you don't grow it longer. Okay. And she keeps trying to push back, and she's like, hey, dude, just give me the pan. Like, I need to go back to my dad's house. He's like, you don't even like ham. Why are you getting this pan for your dad? And why are you doing stupid stuff? Like, you can't just do anything he asks all the time. You can't be such a people pleaser. And she's trying to leave again, and he says, Jamie, let me make something very clear. His voice is calm and very, very final. If you think that I won't tie you up and lock you in my bedroom before I let you step outside in this weather, then you don't know me at all. Okay, we go on to chapter 2, and the problem is that she does know Mark. She has known Mark since he was born. Like, she went to the hospital and held him immediately after he was born. It was her first memory when she was 2.5 years old, which, by the way, is very early for memories. I think my earliest memory is maybe like 5, maybe 6 years old. And then I Googled it, and it looks like the average, according to Google, for your first memory is between 3 and 4 years old. 2.5 is very, very early, especially for how distinct that this memory is, but that's fine. Whatever we got to tell ourselves to get the plot going, right? In that precise moment, he opened his gray eyes, and after a couple of clumsy attempts, he gripped my index finger. Hi. His unwavering stares seemed to say, and stay, and maybe even, I like you. He was small but strong, and at once an overwhelming sense of love and protectiveness swept over me. It's okay, I swore silently to Mark. I'll be your friend. I'll get Tabitha to be your friend too, and I will love you, even if you're the ugliest thing that I've ever seen. It was heartfelt and a sincere promise, one that I broke a million times over the next few years, because in a tragic turn of events, Mark Evan Compton turned out to be the absolute worst. I hate that. I can't put my finger on why. I think it's because if you knew somebody when they were just a little tiny baby thing, then like, I don't know how you ever would look at them as not that little tiny baby. I don't know how you would ever, I cannot fathom how you could ever get romantic feelings for somebody after seeing them that young. That seems weird to me. So this whole chapter is really just like a flashback of them kind of growing up through the years and like establishing their relationship. It's cute, right? We get to learn about their friendship. We get to learn about like their friendship throughout the years. Love that. Love the backstory. It makes it not feel like insta love. Like we are really building a solid foundation for a relationship. Love, 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 love. Hate, 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 hate that all of this happened from like 2.5 years old to 25. Like, really wish that we could have done that differently. For several highly gullible years, I was a Mark apologist. I'm sure he didn't mean to do that, I would tell a seething Tabitha every morning as we walked to school. He didn't mean to switch out your vitamin gummies with laxatives, or use your favorite shirt to line the hamster's cage, or stab you in the eye with a plastic fork, or lock you in the linen closet, and a whole bunch of other stuff. I made up excuses because with me, Mark was never a terror. Whatever instinctive love that I'd felt toward him on the day that he was born, it was reciprocated. Dad and Mr. Compton had been best friends since high school, and our families were constantly in each other's proximity. Mom had left us right after I was born, and Dad, with his very demanding job, appreciated all of the childcare that the Comptons could offer. Tabitha and I were, of course, inseparable, but I had a special bond with Mark, too. Almost like a sibling. Almost like a little brother. I wish you lived with us, he would tell me sweetly when I'd leave Tabitha's room after a weekend sleepover. And you're my favorite person in the whole world. And when we grow up, I want us to get married. Oh. So they were close up until the point when she and Tabitha were 12 years old and they had a weekend project for like a home ec. You know what I mean? Like those type of classes where like you learn life skills, and they had an egg that they had to maintain, and they had to keep this egg healthy throughout the weekend. And they wake up the next day and Mark is like frying the egg and eating it for breakfast. And he swears that it was an accident. He didn't mean to. He didn't know that it was a special egg. So Tabitha and him get into this huge fight, screaming match. Dad comes downstairs. She's like, what happened? Jamie says Mark started it. He was grounded after that, though I can't recall for how long. What I do remember with stunning clarity is his betrayed look and the instinctive knowledge that this would mark the end of an era. The following year, instead of Valentine's, I received embarrassing nicknames, incessant teasing, and a newfound rivalry with my best friend's little brother. So Mark was a super smart kid growing up, but a bored one. You know the kind. Very like understimulated at school, has a lot of energy. He really channeled that into antics and pranks and bullying her and all that sort of thing. Typical gifted child acting out. One of Dad's girlfriends once said. She was a psychologist and I really liked her. In fact, she may have been my favorite out of all of the women that he'd brought home. For a while, I'd hoped that she would become my stepmom, but none of Dad's relationships seemed to last more than a couple of years. A problem, since I didn't seem to be able to stop myself from growing very attached to them all. But for one reason or another, his partners always left. And even though Dad recovered quickly, their departure never failed to make me feel alone, abandoned, and maybe a little guilty. Was it my fault? Was I too needy? Should I have made myself scarcer when they came over? Was that why my mom had left after I was born? Or maybe this was just the nature of relationships. Transient, fragile, finite, not worth pursuing. Over time, I formed my own coping strategies. All I could control was my behavior. I needed to be as considerate and high-achieving as possible, and if I accomplished that, maybe people would contemplate sticking around, and if they didn't, I taught myself to be grateful for what they would leave behind. I'm grateful to Dad's girlfriends for teaching me how to fish, how to use tampons, how to bake bread, and of course that Mark Compton was a bit of a misunderstood genius. I didn't ask to be called out so fucking directly. I think I have said all of that verbatim. Like, what a beautiful paragraph, right? I didn't ask to be attacked, but what a great character building, character defining discussion and reflection to have. Especially, it is specifically very, very relevant for this and for the issues that she and Mark are having. Wonderful piece there, good bit of writing, and I personally related to it, so I'm over here cheering for Jamie, right? And then she pisses me the fuck off. And I think it's because I do see a lot of myself in this character. And then just to see it flop and her just do stupid shit and be like infantilized is so incredibly frustrating. We'll get there. I'll unpack a little bit more as we go. But I just wanted to note that I do like that. I like the writing. I like that level of reflection. I think it's great and it's relevant. Anyway, it's usual brother stuff, right? They go through the really, really crappy phase where they are just absolutely bullies until they hit high school, and then they mellow the fuck walk out, and then they just go become distant and they do their own thing. It was the same thing for him. He just grew distant and didn't really talk to Jamie or Tabitha. So by the time that they were in high school, she and Tabitha were juniors, and then Mark came in as a freshman. He had that same thing where he just grew distant. There was no more bullying. There was no more taunting and pranks. He just kind of went off and did his own thing. Things had changed. In the hallways at school, Mark no longer acknowledged me, not even to make fun of me, and that year I exchanged fewer words with him than with the mechanic who fixed my car at the Jiffy Lube. If a vengeful angel were to drop from the skies and chop off 3 of my fingers, I could still count our interactions on one hand. Kind of a weird way to frame. What a weird thing to say. Okay. Of the 3 times that they spoke, though, they were very cute. The one was making sure that her boyfriend was being nice to her. He had paid for her lunch when she forgot cash. And then after a stupid bet where he didn't know the difference between a trombone and a tuba, he mows her dad's backyard for the rest of the summer. The point being, though, is that they didn't really cross paths very much, but he was still taking care of her from a distance. Always watching, always taking care of her, always showing up when he needed to. And of course, Mark is really popular. He's super cute, and everybody wanted his number when he was a freshman. Even some senior girls wanted his number. And the girls, Tabitha and Jamie, were the typical overachievers, and I say that with love. They were in National Honor Society, they were in like the yearbook club and that sort of thing, and they were just doing well in school, and that was kind of their focus, was school and extracurriculars. So they didn't really have a bunch of friends. They weren't in that like popular clique. They didn't play sports. They were in band and National Honor Society, which, right, I was never in band, but that's where I lived, right? Those were all my friends. Like, I lived in that. Again, this is a place of love that I call them fucking nerds. Like, I was a National Honor Society person. Like, I was the treasurer for the student council, you know what I mean? Like, I was a fucking nerd, and all my friends were theater kids, right? Shocker. And so they were in that clique, right? They were in that realm. And so when he comes in and he is super popular, they're very jarred by this. And Tabitha's a little pissed off. She's like, how is my stupid, gross brother so cool and we're not? Like, what the hell? Again, I saw a lot of myself in Jamie, which was really weird. As I moved into my senior year, there were big and little moments with him. When the girl he was seeing called me a bitch for accidentally walking into her, he broke up with her in under 10 minutes. When I spent the night at Tabitha's and couldn't go back to sleep after a nightmare, Mark, on his way to get a glass of water, found me huddled on the living room couch. He sat next to me for hours and took my mind off of my bad dream by telling me the backstories of every single non-playable character in his favorite video game. Oh, I love that. When I got a call that my grandma's health had taken a turn for the worst, I don't remember what Dad told me on the phone or how I explained the situation to the Comptons. That day and the ones that followed are a blur, and my only memory anchoring me is of Mark breaking the speed limit to get me to the hospital, and his hand reaching across the center console, never letting go of mine. All in all, I don't know if it's fair to say that Mark and I were really friends during our teenage years, but somehow when I really needed him, he was always around. It took me a long while to realize that it wasn't by accident. Okay? I like the establishing of the relationship. I think we're doing really good there. I think this is a very cute, like a friendship backstory. After the girls' senior prom, after being almost disgustingly good for their whole lives, the girls play the whole sleepover switcheroo, like, oh, I'll be at her house. Oh, she'll be at my house, to their parents. And then it's like they tried to get a hotel room with their prom dates. Scandalous. But when they go into the hotel lobby, Tabitha's parents are there waiting for them. Well, they got found out because the dads are best friends. Of course they talk. What a stupid way to try and sneak out when your dads are literally BFFs. But when they were about to call the cops and stuff and like report the girls missing and it was going to be this whole dramatic thing, Mark interrupted and he's like, hey, this is the hotel where all of the other seniors are going. That might be where they are. Okay. Girls ask the parents and they're like, how did you even find us? They tell them that. They tell them that Mark told them the hotel. So when Tabitha gets home, she is pissed off at Mark, right? Going off on him, powered by Mike's hard lemonade and the alcohol metabolizing enzymes that she had yet to develop, barged into his room and turned on the light. I can't believe you fucking told them, she hissed at her brother. Cue an argument between the brother and the sister. And she's like, you're just trying to ruin my life. You couldn't even just let me have this one thing. Like, how would you feel if I snitched you out? How would it make you feel if I told your secrets? Mark stood and widened his arms. You'd be welcome to it, but I don't have any. Listen, can I go back to sleep? It's not my fault if you two are still virgins at the ripe old age of... Tabitha moved so fast that the glitter of her dress brought in mind a shooting star. I really like that sentence. But anyway, I saw her grab a drawer in Mark's desk, pull out a box, and then throw it on the rug in front of his bed. The box opened and a dozen papers scattered around it. Pictures. Lots of them. Pictures of... I blinked. Was that... You asshole, Tabitha snarled. Did you have fun telling Mom and Dad my business? I hope you did, because I'm having the time of my life telling my best friend that you're fucking gone over her, especially knowing that she thinks you're just a bratty little piece of shit. Dude, teenage girls are horrible. Oh my God. So then Tabitha leaves the room. I bit the inside of my cheek before cautiously asking, Is that really me in the pictures? Mark did something that I hadn't seen in about a decade. He flushed. Jesus, Jamie. He ran a nervous hand down his face. It was the first time that he'd used my real name in forever. He usually makes fun of her. He calls her butt paper. We're not getting into it. I am ignoring it for a reason. It pisses me off. I went down to my knees. The ball gown I'd worn to prom and never taken off pulled around me. A puddle of blue tulle and pearls. Gingerly, I picked up a photo. I remember this one. It's from the spelling bee you won. Why? Why? Did you really just ask me why? Are you high or something? Actually, yeah. I think I might be. She had an edible. How serious is this? I asked academically, pointing at the box. A single eyebrow crept up. What do you think? Very. Don't flatter yourself too much. I'm probably just stuck at some weird stage of my psychosexual development. I'll grow out of it. Oh my God, what a douchey thing to say. And so she tries to get up to leave, and since the secret's out, he grabbed his phone from the nightstand, lifted it, and snapped a single picture of me in my prom dress. I really didn't mean to get you and Tab in trouble, but selfishly I'm glad that you didn't spend the night with Niall. Why? Because when I saw you in that dress earlier tonight, He doesn't deserve you. No one does. What about you? I deserve you least of all, but I want you the most, and I won't give up. The lengths I'm willing to go to, one day I'll show you. I stood there, mystified for a long moment, until, you can go now, he said gently, and so I left. Oh, it's a little creepy. But it's kind of cute. The next time that she sees Mark, she is 21 and she came home for the holidays. She hadn't seen him in a couple of years by that point, and she's taken aback by how much that he has grown in that time. And she realized that she missed him. And she tells him as much. And he says that he missed her too, and they hug, and it's cute, and there's more that they want to say, but then the family comes in and they get swooped up doing other stuff. But at dinner, she can sense the tension. There's some family drama, or like an undercurrent of family drama happening. What it is Mark wants to drop out of college. He developed a file transfer system, and he has a startup tech company, and he really wants to like invest his time in it because he knows that he can hit it big. And his parents and Tabitha are both like, hey, stay in school, dipshit, sell your company, sell the idea to somebody, get a bunch of money for it, but stay in school, like you can't drop out. It upsets him because obviously this is his dream. This is like what he wants to do. And so they have a back and forth about this situation until Mark sighed and rose to his feet. I'll be right back. Miss Compton frowned. Mrs. Compton, pardon me, ma'am. Mrs. Compton frowned. Where are you going? Cigarette break. But you don't smoke. He grinned wide. For a second, I couldn't breathe. Let's pretend that I do and that I'm not just trying to get away from you. I'm stealing that, bro. I love that. I'm gonna take a cigarette break. That's so funny. So then after a bit, she excuses herself, saying that she's going to go to the bathroom, but instead she goes outside to go and find Mark. And she goes and sits by him on this, porch swing. Are you going to do it? Do what? Drop out. I don't know. I want to, but not a single person in the universe thinks that I should, so I'll probably just sell the tech and... I do. You do? I think you should leave school, that is. Is it so? Yeah. Well. Why do you look so delighted? I can't help it. Little Jamie, prim and proper, by the books, speeding toward med school since the first grade, is now telling me to blow up my whole life. It's making me feel a certain kind of way. I do think you should massage the plan a bit. You should really take a leave of absence and not drop out. Maybe give yourself a deadline. If you can't bring the tech to market by a reasonable date, you could go back to school, but you shouldn't give it up. It sounds like a great idea, a great product. It's your tech. You shouldn't have to sell it if you don't want to. Yeah? Yeah. Oh. And so then she goes on to say, I have some money from my grandmother's inheritance, which, hey, again, we referenced the grandmother dying earlier and how he supported her during that process. Bulletproof, I won't say that, that's a little far, but very well written little factoids that we're learning about these characters that are still relevant later in the story. I love the callbacks. I love the tie-ins. Don't give me useless information that will not be used again. I enjoy that piece of writing. Like, I don't think Ali Hazelwood is a bad writer. I was not a big fan of some of the dialogue that they had. It was a little cringy. It made me want to die. That's extreme. But some of the dialogue was a little cringy, and then the way that she writes the women really pisses me off. Like, inside of their brain characters is great, but the way that the female characters are presented to the world and the way that they interact with their world really drives me crazy, and I'm genuinely hoping that it's just this book and that's like a one-off thing. So again, if you are familiar with Ali Hazelwood works, please let me know if that is how all of her books are. Because otherwise, I think I would have enjoyed this if Jamie didn't piss me off as much as she did, okay? Anyway, she goes on to say, you know, hey, I got that inheritance from when my grandmother passed away, and I would like to invest it in your company. He says, I know you don't. I'm asking you for the opportunity to invest in equity capital. I'd rather do it to support someone that I believe in, someone that I know and care about, than we've barely seen each other in the last few years. True, but I know you. I always have. You get it, right? He did. I was sure of it. I could practically taste it in the way that his body suddenly tensed. Keep your money. He said after a long silence, voice pitched low. His hand found my knee under the blanket, closed around it, and sent hot shivers up my thigh into my belly. And let me take you out on a date. And then she makes it weird, right? I was like, oh, scandalous. Okay, what a cute little comeback thing. And she, in response, says, what's this? Community service at the senior center? You're 2 years older than me, Jamie. 21 and 19 is a big difference. Yeah, of course, you could be my mother. Just let me take you out anyway. She tries to push back. She's like, you live in Boston. He's like, I'm coming to San Francisco. Like, when you go to Berkeley for med school, like, I'll be there for whatever. Like, we can make it work. And she's like, we can't do it, Mark. Even though internally she wants to, and she thinks that he's attractive and, like, is down and kind of has the hots for him, wants to kiss him, but she is like, I can't, I have a boyfriend. Nice. He can fuck off. Mark. No, I'm serious. What's his name? Shane. Shane can fuck right off. He says, listen, Jamie, date us both. I can deal with that. And then choose the better guy. You seem awfully certain that I would choose you. Oh, sweetheart, I really am. I'd make sure of it. So then he still tries to make a move on her, you know what I mean? Like, he's really trying hard. You gotta love the effort, not in a creepy way, like, he's not overdoing it, but I love the dedication here, right? Like, he's really trying to go after the girl in a not creepy way, which I appreciate. So she's like, Mark, I can't. A long silence, a deep, gathering, frustrated sigh, and then he nodded and said, it wouldn't be right anyway. This wasn't the plan. I need to stick to it. What plan? The thing is, you're perfect, Jamie. Absolutely fantastic. You always have been. I've never been anything but amazed by you, and I don't think I'm there yet. I want to deserve you. So he goes on this whole spiel about how he's going to do everything he can. He's going to bring the tech to market. He's going to make, like, money, and he's going to be worthy of it. He'll be worthy of her, and he'll ask for another chance. Okay. So she says, Mark, no, I'm not perfect. I shook my head, thinking about the profound depression that I'd fallen into during my sophomore year, about how lonely and anxious I felt sometimes, about how I constantly questioned whether I was good enough to become a doctor, about how I, after a lifetime of being left behind, found it next to impossible to trust people to stick around. Even Tabitha and I weren't as close as we used to be, and despite my efforts, our bond seemed to be growing weaker by the year. Your impression of me? I'm not the person that you used to have a crush on. I didn't say, but he got it. That's fine, Jamie, since I'm not the person who spent most of his life in love with you either. Aww. And for what it's worth, you're still the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. He bent to press a lingering kiss to my flushed cheek and walked back inside the house. 4 years later, Mark Evan Compton was on the cover of Forbes. And 5 years later, everything fell apart. I have tears in my eyes. I don't know if you can tell. I legitimately have tears in my eyes. That's so cute. For what it's worth, you're still the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Shut the fuck up. In chapter 3, we go back to the current day. The storm is worsening and she's starting to freak out, but she asks about his work to distract her. I don't understand. Okay, sorry, we're gonna this is the ranting part of this review. I don't know why. I don't feel anything toward this book other than like frustration. I feel like I got blue balled, and I can't put it into words why or what is wrong with it. I love the main male character. He's a little annoying in certain parts, and certain parts are kind of questionable, but he, as a person with this like pursuit and lifelong love of a woman and doing everything he can to be good enough for her, love that so much. I love the way that he expresses it. I love the way that he is supportive of her, that we'll continue to discuss in a little while. I love the main female character as like a fundamental, this is like a self-insert Kaylee, other than the weird hang up on the whole age thing. But so much of it, I'm just like, how do you do that to me? How am I going to read about a main male character who I am actually enjoying and a female character that I relate to so deeply, and I still feel blue-balled? Like, what the fuck happened? We'll figure it out. We'll keep going. So in chapter 3, we're back to the current day. The storm is worsening, and she's starting to freak out. And she's thinking, I've always been a delicate flower, scared of thunderstorms, the dark, nightmares, loud noises. Back when we were younger, Mark used to tease me about it, but then he would miraculously be around whenever I showed the smallest signs of distress and stick to my side until I was done panicking. Jamie. When I opened my eyes, Mark is right there, kneeling next to me, the gray of his irises darkened with worry. And so then she starts to ask him about his work so that he can distract her and like tell her things. He's talking about an interview that he did, how the company's doing. She asks about stocks. Gross. And then he purses his lips, curious. You never cashed out, Jamie. Huh? When I first started the company, you insisted on investing in it, and then you never sold your shares even though they could make you quite a bit. Right. I know. I haven't gotten around to it, but I've been thinking about doing that. Have you? Internally, no, I haven't. Not once. Because even if I messed up, even if I can't be with Mark, I like the idea of us being tethered by something. And if that something has to be market-traded equity, so be it. Oh my God. Then he's like, hey, you don't look good. And she's like, are you saying I look bad? He's like, I don't think you're physically capable of looking bad, but you look tired. And so then she goes on this whole rant about how much school has been draining her, and she's trying so hard, but it's still just not what she thought it was. And she's lonely, right? Like, she just is not feeling fulfilled with what's going on. And he says, you can always call me, even if you don't want to. I know we've been over this stuff, but even if you don't want anything to do with me in that way, I'm still your friend, Jamie. You can call me. I'm not sure that's true. It is. You can, anytime. That's not really my experience, though. A bubble of resentment pops in my chest. Not any time. Mark leans forward. Your experience? What do you... And that, of course, is when the whoosh of the storm reaches its all-time loudest and the lights go out. Chapter 4, the power is out, and she's starting to have an actual panic attack now because of the whole afraid of the dark thing. She's trying to leave the room, right? She's trying to make excuses, and he knows what's happening. He's an attentive guy, and he's like, hey, Jamie, I'm not letting you leave the room. You can have panic attacks in front of me. It's okay. Like, I don't know why you're being weird about it. He hugs her until the feeling goes away. Told you guys, all you need is a good lay. All you need is a little hottie toddy to make all your mental illness go away. So then he's like, okay, hey, Jamie, now that you've kind of passed this panic attack feeling, let's go sit by the fireplace and let's play a game. A game in the dark with like little flashlights. What the hell kind of game could we possibly do? And they play truth or drink. And then we get a very detailed paragraph about what truth or drink is. So I will read it to you, but I thought it was funny. I'm pretty sure it's like self-explanatory, but just in case, the rules, and I use that term generously, are pretty simple. Players take turns asking questions. The other can choose to either answer truthfully or take a shot. Pretty straightforward, but it was the shit when we were teenagers. Such a millennial thing to say. Mostly at the kind of parties where Mark thrived and I was never invited. And she's like, never played it before. And he's like, oh, that's not a surprise, you nerd, whatever. So they go on to play. Let the games begin. He goes and gets a bottle of tequila, which feels a little extreme for this, but that's fine. She starts the game. So she asks the first question and she says, why didn't you go on the cruise with your parents and Tabitha? Shareholders meeting 3 days ago. It's his turn. And of course, can you guess? Can you guess what his first question is? When's the last time that you had sex with someone? Truly, fuckboys never stop. They never age. He's 25 years old and that's still the first question that he asks. And that is, I can't be surprised. I shouldn't have been surprised. Neither should she. I downed my shot exclusively out of spite. The thing is, Mark knows that Shane and I broke up last year when he proposed, and I couldn't bring myself to say yes to him because he's a great guy who deserves to be with someone who's crazy about him. Ideally, somebody who's not in love with someone else either. Jamie, are you in love with Mark and you're just not saying it? That sounds like a trope I hate. And then it's her turn to ask a question. Dad invited you to spend Christmas with us multiple times and you kept saying no. Why? Because I wasn't sure I wanted to spend time with you over the holidays. It's like a knife is planted into my abdomen. I have to clench my fists against the almost physical pain. And by you mean the singular you, like me, or like my entire family? No follow-up questions. It's my turn. And he says, are you happy? Like right now? In general. What kind of question is that? The one I wanted to ask. Your drink is right there if there's something you don't want to admit to. So I do just that. I swallow the alcohol in one big gulp, and then I set it back down on the tray with too much force. Are you happy, Mark? No, I'm not. My turn. Is there anything that I could do right now that would make you happy? On the plus side, my panic is gone. However, it's now swallowed by anger. Anger toward none other than Mark. I think I might hate him. Actually, I'm certain of it as I angrily pick up my glass with trembling fingers, ignoring the liquid sloshing stickily to my fingers. I usually have a pretty high tolerance for alcohol, but the last time I ate was several hours ago, and I'm not drunk yet, but a hazy wave of heat and ethanol hits me all at once. It softens my defenses and dissolves all my filters. Fuck it, I think. Right when it's my turn. Are you angry at me? I ask, or maybe the tequila does. For what I did to you the last time that we saw each other? His expression hardens. Yes, Jamie, I'm fucking furious with you. Oh my God, okay, so what happened, right? So we go into chapter 5, learning about what happened. Why is he mad at her? It happened 4 months ago, on my last birthday, after the worst week of my career. It wasn't the first time that I'd lost a patient. It was, however, the most unexpected. I probably should have seen it coming, but I had been so certain that it would all work out. Then it hadn't, and even when my attending physician insisted that nothing more could have been done, I wasn't so sure that I could easily forgive myself. It had been a rough shift in a series of rough shifts, with lots of questioning my life choices and wondering whether I was cut out for keeping alive anything more complex than a San Pedro cactus. But when I stepped out of the hospital, Mark was standing there, tall and handsome and so real. For a second, I thought, it's going to be okay. She had seen him quite a bit over that 5 years that they were both living in San Francisco. They would either see each other when they went back home and their visits had overlapped, or he would invite her out to lunches or dinners every now and then. But it was always with colleagues or coworkers or friends or whatever. They were never alone. They had never a single time been alone. He changed his mind on me, I thought, and I told myself I was too busy with work to be disappointed. He made it big and met new, more successful, and more interesting people. Plus, I don't care. I'm with Shane. But when Mark showed up for my birthday, Shane and I were no longer together, and he'd come alone. Just him and a bouquet of sunflowers. My favorite. And my happiness at seeing him was so bright, I felt more unstable than a supernova. So he takes her out to dinner to this little cute spot, and then they go walking on the beach. And they have some, deep conversation. First time that they've been alone in forever, right? So he says, a while ago, 5 years, give or take, I gave myself a benchmark. A benchmark for success. Like a gross profit margin of 65%. Jamie, do you know what a gross profit margin is? No. He laughed. It's okay. You're good at other things. And then he's like, no, I hit all my KPIs, which are key performance indicators. Anyway, he's like, yeah, I hit all my KPIs. I did it even faster than I thought I would. I'm above and beyond everything that I wanted. You remember what I told you the last time we were alone, don't you? Once I'm worthy of it, I'll ask you for another chance, is what she's thinking. And he hadn't been serious, though. Or if he had, those intentions had long dissolved. It was a crush, that's all. Or the lingering tracings of one. But Mark had a whole new life now, and a company, and girlfriends, and she just kind of laughs off the situation. Are you having a slow week? Because if you're just looking to get laid, he bent toward me. Instantly shut me up. His kiss was sudden and deep and open-mouthed, nothing to everything, and in less than a second, I felt lightheaded, vibrating, ready to burst. So they start making out, right? She's really into it too, and it is like this whole spark and everything that she ever wanted, right? And then he stopped. Jamie, After a short hesitation with some difficulty, he pulled back. I fucking adore you. I was in love with you when I was 15, and if I'm honest, not much has changed. Just come home with me. Let me take care of you. Let me make you happy. I can tell you're lonely, and honestly, so am I. I'll never not be until we're together. His words hit me like a bucket of ice-cold water. I took a step back and then another, and his hands twitched as he instinctively reached out to pull me back. Are you... No, Mark, are you crazy? Come on, Jamie. This cannot be a surprise. I've been in love with you since forever. Puppy love. You had a crush on me when we were teenagers. That was years ago. It's been years, and I've met a lot of people in the meantime, but not a single one has measured up. There hasn't been a single person that I've liked as much as you. That's just because I'm the one that got away, Mark. At this point, you don't even know how much of a mess I am. I cry all the time. I cried last night for hours. I'm a disaster. Whole back and forth thing. For the last few years, I forced myself to be patient, and since I knew I'd never be able to keep my promise if you and I ended up alone, I avoided it altogether. But this is it. I've done something that I can be proud of. I've proven to myself that I can be reliable and get shit done. And now I want to prove it to you too. I can provide for you. I can give you what you need. I'm not over you, and I never will be. You clearly have this idealized version of me that... Idealized? He laughed. His hands came up to my cheeks. Jamie, if anyone is aware of your flaws, it's me. Right, and so then he goes on this whole spiel, like really dissecting her character and being like, you have the worst taste in TV shows. When you get angry, you get quiet instead of communicating. You care way too much about people pleasing. Just pages of of him talking about her. And he's like, I love you. I love how gorgeous you are when you laugh. I love the way that your brain never stops working. I love you. I was about to break down in tears because, okay, maybe he did know me better than most, better than anyone, but it still meant nothing. Mark, I'm basically your older sister. Oh my God. There's nothing brotherly about the way that I feel right now or have ever felt in your presence. I wanted to marry you when I was 6, and I wanted to do very, very rude things to you at 18. Jesus Christ. Still, you're rich and handsome. You can do so much better than me. And this is where I start to get pissed off, dude. Shut up. Just accept the love. We accept the love. Do I have it with me? We accept the love we think we deserve. I don't know where my Perks of Being a Wallflower book is. We accept the love we think we deserve. I get it, okay? I get it. She's got some shit going on, so she can't accept the love. We talked about it a little bit before. But still, I just was so frustrated with her. Oh my God. His eyes were incredulous. You're delusional. There's no one better. He just keeps trying to convince her, I want you. I want everything with you. Or everything I've ever done has been for you. I want to travel to Illinois with you for the holidays. Again, pages and pages of him just pouring his heart out to this woman. And her being like, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. You don't get it. I honestly, at this point, I'm not even sure that I can be in a relationship. There's probably something wrong with me. But Mark was already shaking his head, and at that moment it occurred to me. He didn't get it. He didn't get how impossible this was. He didn't get that he needed someone better than me. He was going to push back again and again until my defenses collapsed, and I selfishly accepted what he was offering. I was going to gobble him up, and 2, 5, 10 years from now he was going to tire of me and leave, just like so many others had. So I took a deep breath, briefly closed my eyes, and coldly said what I had to say. It's like he once told me, you're just stuck at some weird stage of development. Oh, come on. I was 16 and mad at my sister for spilling my secrets. I never really thought. I do, though, Mark. You're immature, childish, and I'm not really attracted to you. I'm sorry, but to me, you'll always be the annoying little boy that I had to tolerate because of my best friend. My heart hurt like it had been punched, but I forced myself to continue. Romantically, I don't want anything to do with you. Not now, and not ever. You can't keep getting away with this. Just commit, man. If we just... Again, this is the same thing that I have in any of my, age gap or relationship complaints. Just one or the other, homeboy. Can we just treat him as... This is the motion that I always do as well. Here's the boundary. Stick to this side or stick to that side. Boundary. Treat him like a brother. View him as a brother. View him as young. Shut the fuck up about having romantic feelings. Or only have romantic feelings and stop making references to him being, a child and viewing him as a baby. I hate the back and forth wishy-washy bullshit of that. I'm not going to find that attractive. The second that a character starts to view the younger one in a childlike manner or views them, I guess that would be it. Just views them as a child, point blank, bro. They're a child forever. You put them in that bucket. Stop trying to pull them back out. That's where they live now. Way to go. You made him a kid. You view them as a kid. Keep it that way. I don't give a shit that now they're like 27 and 25 or something. I don't like that. He's the little brother or he's not. Like, stop being weird about it, you freaks. So in chapter 6, it opens up. We're back in current day. And he's like, I'm fucking furious with you. I'm just not furious with you for the reasons that you think. Yeah, I was a bitch to you. The things I said were unnecessarily cruel. That has to be the reason. Jamie, why are you so sure that it wouldn't work out between us? Is this your next question? Sure. I'll need a refill then. Too bad you're done for tonight. And fuck this stupid game. Just tell me why. You're the one who wanted to play. Just answer my question, Jamie, and I'll tell you what it is that makes me so angry. I shouldn't tell him the innermost workings of my mind, that is. He could use them to hurt you, a voice warns. Does it matter, though, when I'm already so good at hurting myself? You have no idea how messy the inside of my head really is. In fact, I'm probably like my dad, impossible to be with. Somehow, sooner or later, everyone I really care about leaves, and I wouldn't be able to. You'd get bored, and I'm not interesting or exciting. I mean, the week after our fight, you were literally dating a model. He scoffs, and it was a model technically, but they were working together for some project to get like girls into coding, like young girls, and they were doing like a coding camp. And so, yeah, he was working with her quite a bit, and yeah, the girl tried to hit on him and take him on a date or whatever, but he turned her down because she wasn't Jamie. Jamie refuses to accept this answer, and it's just this more back and forth and arguing about how she's not good enough. And he's just getting more and more frustrated and saying how he is so furious. The reason he is so furious is because he knew that she was lying. And she was only lying because she's a coward, and she's too much of a coward to admit how she feels. And he knows that she wants him, and she knows that he wants her, but she just won't admit it or accept it or try to like have something between them. He's like, you're too much of a coward to admit it, like even to yourself. I did. What? I did admit it. You're the one who never replied. Never replied to what? I called you, Mark, the day after my birthday. I left a voicemail. He physically recoils as though I just punched him in the stomach. You left a voicemail on your phone? Who the fuck leaves voicemails? Plenty of people. Doctor's offices. Me. Jamie, I haven't listened to my messages in decades. Don't you have a very important job that requires you to know important things? And he's like, yeah, I have a work phone for that. I check messages on that. I don't check my personal one. And so he whips out his phone in order to check the voicemail. And she's like, hey, like, stop. It's been months. Like, I don't even listen to it. His eyes never leave mine as he presses one, and I want to die on the spot. And it plays her voicemail. Mark, about yesterday, I fucked up. I don't really think you're immature. And it's not true that I'll never be interested in you. I will be. I mean, I am. Is it an excuse if I tell you I had a shitty week at work? It makes me feel really bad about myself. And then you said all those nice things about me, and I was sure that I would disappoint you, and I panicked. And the thing is, I think you're right. I'm really scared constantly to end up like my dad. That the more people know me, the more they'll want to leave. It's why I spent years with Shane, because I knew I could handle him leaving me. But you, I like you so much. I always have. And you and I have always worked. And if we start something and it ends up not working out, it will destroy me. But I'm starting to realize that pretending I don't have feelings for you will also destroy me. If you'd like to go on a date or even hang out as friends, if that's all that you can accept from me after the things I said, it would really make me. In the background, my voice babbles on, saying more things about love and fear and hope, but I have stopped listening because Mark's phone is now hitting the floor and he's pressing me against the wall, hands are on my face, tongue in my mouth, body covering mine. In chapter 7, they have spicy time. Is anybody surprised? So 4 months of a miscommunication trope. Just never checked his voicemails. Never got the notification pop up on his phone and saw that he had a missed call from her. Because that's my thing. Even if he didn't check the voicemail, he would have seen he had a missed call from her. That wouldn't have been indicative of something that maybe you should reach back out or text her. She never sent a follow-up. Bro, the lack of communication, I swear to God. What do you mean? Like, none of that. What do you mean? Fucking the Jennifer Lawrence thing. What do you mean? God damn it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm fucking whatever. I just got blue balled. That's all. I know I've said that like 4 times in this video. I'm sorry. But like, that's how I feel. It feels like this could have been good. It just wasn't. So in chapter 7, they go up to his childhood bedroom to bang or whatever. She asks about the box of pictures, right? Kind of motioning over to his desk, and he says that it's not there. She's a little sad about it, and he's like, no, it's because I took it with me. I take it everywhere I go. And she's like, oh, did you add the picture that you took of me at prom to the collection? And he's like, no, I never had it printed. And then pulls up his phone, and it's his wallpaper on his phone. That's kind of weird. You couldn't have, like, taken a recent one off of her Instagram? Y'all telling me y'all ain't never sent a selfie? You're just having a picture of an 18-year-old as the background on your phone 10 years later. Okay, I guess. I put it there the second that I took it, and then occasionally I'd switch it out with something else, but after a few months I would always go back to it. That's why I never thought of you as the one who got away, Jamie. You said that that's all that you were to me back on your birthday, but that's just not true, because for you to get away I would have needed to let go of you. I never did. I never wanted that. It's not puppy love either. There's nothing innocent about the way that I want you. And as soon as the tequila is out of your body, I'll show you. Consent is key, my guy. Love that. I love that we're not taking advantage of drunk women. Feel like I shouldn't need to say that out loud. That's not something I should be grateful for. But the bar in the literary world is literally in hell. But she insists. She's like, hey, I am sober. Like, I want to do something with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good. My head is clear. This is a decision. I want to do this with you. I want to do stuff. And then she kind of, afterward, has this thought. And she's like, is this weird? Jamie, believe me, nothing in my life has ever felt less weird than staring at your breasts. No, I mean, the bed. Like, doing this in your old room. Are we, like, defiling your wholesome childhood memories or something? Jamie, pretty unspeakable things have happened in here, and pretty much all of them had something to do with you. The defiling that you mentioned has long taken place. Ew. Why did I highlight this? Oh, I highlighted this because... I'll read it to you. It's a little disjointed, the way that we grind against each other. At the beginning, there is a burn, but it quickly turns into something so good. I have no words to describe it. My constant worry, the fear of being abandoned, the anxiety of not being enough. I'm so full of Mark that there's just no room for any of that inside of me. I told you guys, all you need to fix your depression and anxiety and mental health issues is get laid, bro. It's the cure-all. Ew. And then it's just more... I hate the spice that is written in this book. I'm not going to front with you. Anyway, and then he tells her that he loves her. He's like, I don't expect you to say it back. I know I laid that on you heavy. He's like, you can say it back to me next year or something. Okay. So that's the book. Pretty short, pretty sweet. Like I said, I'm upset. I feel empty, which I don't really feel like that after a book. But I do. I think that's the best word that I can use for the way that I'm feeling right now. I feel like I didn't get anything from that experience. I just feel teased and frustrated with her for not accepting love. But I also understand. But I also don't like the way that he treats her like a child. And I didn't like the way that they had this back and forth about viewing him as a kid or a little brother or whatever. That was weird. Not a fan of that. Not a fan of the way that of the lack of communication. Not a fan of not a fan of the miscommunication trope and problems that could have been solved. I don't know. What would I have changed to make me not feel this way inside? I think if they would have met when they were older, I would have loved that. I've said it before, but it was like my one requirement for age gap romances is that they met when they were both of age, preferably of frontal lobe development age. If this would have been her college roommate's little brother and they met when he was like 18 and she was 20 and they hit it off and it was crazy, and then we followed very similarly to this flashback through the years, through 7 years of relationship and distance and whatever, I would have loved it. If we could have had almost this exact same context spread out over 7 years when they met when they were 18 and 20, and I would have been okay with it. I would have really, really enjoyed it, actually. But the fact that we had to bring in literally holding him as an infant. Ew. I think that's all I have to say. That was another easy one. That was another easy one in the books. Like I said, if you do have an Ali Hazelwood book that you like or that you don't like and you want to hear me rag on, please comment down below and let me know. I don't mind her writing, other than the fact of the way that she portrays women. I don't know how I feel. Yeah, I don't have an issue with her writing style. I really hope that maybe this whole plot thing and the issues that I had with the characters is just specific to this book. But if that is a consistent thing for her, Yeah, not for me. Not for me. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Become a member of the channel if you want to support extra. Your view is more than enough, especially if you're hearing me say this right now. But if you would like to support the channel additionally, there are memberships available with some extra bonus content and bonuses associated with them. Make sure that you vote in my polls. I'll have a new one up on Friday or Saturday. Let me know what you want to see. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I appreciate your time, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.